welcome to another edition of Corey's in the Kitchen. And I know what you're thinking, where have you been? It's been like 2 weeks and we've got like nothing new. I'm sorry, I apologize. My wife and I have a photography business on the side and we have just been extremely busy the last couple of weekends. I'll probably throw a link to the photography website in the description. So, but I'm back. It's No Shave November, as you can tell. I haven't, taken a razor blade to this face in a little bit.
Boo!
And my wife is not entirely thrilled about it either. But I told her, she doesn't have to shave her legs, so I think it could go both ways. So, anyway, we're back, and hopefully we'll be back on a weekly schedule now. And you're probably wondering, well, what kind of delicious thing is he going to be making today? Well, I was thinking, the holidays, we just had Halloween. We have Thanksgiving coming up, and pumpkin is everywhere. Pumpkin has been everywhere, and they've stopped, really selling pumpkins because Halloween's over, and the only time anybody ever buys pumpkins is to carve for Halloween. But, I'm in the holiday spirit, and I'm in the pumpkin spirit. So the most important question at a party is, do you have pie or do you have cake? Well, I'm here to solve that dilemma for you because we're going to be making a pumpkin pie cake. You heard right. It's pumpkin pie and pumpkin cake in one pan. That's a whole lot of goodness. Alright, so what do we need for this cooking adventure? First thing we're going to need is pumpkin. 129-ounce can of pumpkin should do it for us today. So, that's item number one. We're also going to need 1 12-ounce can of evaporated milk. We're going to need a cake mix. Either yellow or spice works really well with this recipe. So I just grabbed what we had in the cabinet and that just happened to be yellow cake. So yellow cake mix, make sure it's the 2-tier cake mix. You gotta have enough. We need 3 eggs. We're also going to need a cup of sugar. Looks like a lot, but we're going to make like 15 servings of this, so it's not really all that much. We're also going to need a cup of chopped walnuts. I got the walnut halves, they're a little bit cheaper, and I just kind of roughly chopped them a little bit, put them in here, a cup of the walnuts. We're going to need some ground cinnamon. I have a bunch in here. We're only going to need about a tablespoon of this. We're also going to need a little bit of salt, about a 1/4 teaspoon of salt for this recipe. And I'm going to go ahead and melt about 3/4 of a cup of butter or margarine. That's about 1.5 sticks. And that's that. So you're also going to need a greased 9x13 pan, and you need to preheat your oven to 350 degrees. So, without further ado, come in a little bit closer and let's get cooking. Okay everyone, so this recipe is actually very, very simple. We're going to start by mixing up most of the ingredients into a bowl, and then we'll show you what to do from there. I went ahead and greased the 9x13 pan. I'm using glass, but you can use aluminum or steel or whatever else type of pan that you want to use. It really doesn't matter. We have the glass one, it's my favorite to use, so that's what I'm going to be using. First, I'd like to give credit where credit is due. This recipe is my father-in-law's. He does a really, really great job over the holidays. He's got a few recipes that I'm probably going to steal from him and make it myself. So, we're going to go ahead and start with the pumpkin. I'm going to dump this whole 29 ounces of pumpkin into my bowl. Alright, so I'll probably grab a spatula, make sure I get all of this pumpkin-y goodness into here. Now I do have to confess, I am not a huge pumpkin fan. I dread the time where everything is pumpkin flavored, unlike my wife who absolutely loves it. But there are a few recipes and there are a few things that I don't mind, and this is just one of those dishes that's so good that I don't mind that it's actually pumpkin.
Well, it's not really pungent either.
Right, exactly, and I think that makes a difference for me. Okay, so we have the pumpkin. I'm going to go ahead and add our evaporated milk into here as well. And it's going to make an absolute lovely mixture. Definitely not going to look like something you want to eat right away. But that's okay. When it's all done and baked, it'll be absolutely phenomenal. Alright, so I'm just going to give that a little stir right here. And as I'm doing that, I'm going to grab our cup of sugar and add it in here as well. There we go. A lot of sugar. After all, we are making a dessert. We want it to be nice and sweet. Almost as sweet as my wife. Okay, as I'm mixing this in, I'm going to go ahead and grab our 3 eggs and put them in here as well. Alright, so we have our eggs, our pumpkin, our milk, and our sugar all in here. And we're just going to mix this all up. Give it a nice good mix, and then we'll add a little bit of our spices into here. I did go ahead and melt the margarine, and I have it into a bowl right over here. I just stuck it in the microwave for about 45 seconds and made sure it all melted nice and evenly, but we won't add that in quite yet. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get a 1/4 teaspoon of the salt, and I'm just going to sprinkle this in here, and I'm going to get a whole tablespoon of our ground cinnamon. I think that's how much I have in here. Nope, I'm a little short, so I'm going to grab a little bit more cinnamon. I'm back, don't worry. Alright, so I went ahead and we have a tablespoon of ground cinnamon that we're adding into this lovely mixture that we have going on. Okay, so that's everything that we're going to put in the bowl. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and mix this up really nicely. There we go. Use a spatula to make sure we get all the yummy goodness that's stuck on the side back into the bowl for a good mixture. You have any memories to share, my love, about this? After all, this recipe is from your side of the family.
Not really. No, I just remember my dad just kind of coming up with this out of nowhere and shocked us all. It was fantastic, and it became a tradition after that. So
that would be the beeping of my oven to let me know that it has finished preheating. And that was just in time too, because we'll be using it shortly. And it's amazing how some of the recipes that you least expect to come out great end up becoming family favorites. Okay, so after your mixture is very, very well mixed, we're going to go ahead and dump it into our 9x13 pan, or 9x13 container. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that over here. Like I said, I've already greased it. You can use Crisco, you can use butter, you can use, cooking spray, whatever you like. However way you'd like to grease your pan is perfectly fine. Let's set this here. And I'm just going to dump this all in here. Oh, look at that. Doesn't that look absolutely phenomenal?
He's lying, folks. Remember, he hates pumpkin, so.
I don't hate pumpkin. I'm just not a really big fan of it. But again, this is one of those recipes where I love the pumpkin. I had no problem killing a few pumpkins for Halloween. It was an absolute joy to me to do that. Although I'm pretty sure you enjoyed it as well.
Yes.
Well, we didn't think about doing a pumpkin carving or using the inside of a pumpkin this year. So maybe for next year around Halloween, we'll show you what to do with the leftover stuff that you get from a pumpkin. Especially the pumpkin seeds. Because who doesn't love some pumpkin seeds? Even pumpkin haters love pumpkin seeds. Okay, so I got this spread out here. It's in our 9x13. I'm going to move this out of our way. Okay, so here's the pumpkin pie portion of it. And you wonder, well, where does the cake part come in? Well, I'm going to show you. I'm going to take our cake mix, and this is yellow cake mix, and you can use either yellow or spice cake mix, or for that matter, any type of cake mix that you want. And put it on there. I found that it works great with yellow, and that's what we had here anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle this over the top and completely cover it. Alright, so we're going to use the entirety of the cake mix, and we're going to completely cover the top of this. And once I have it all in here, I'll just use my hands a little bit to evenly spread it out. Make sure it's evenly spread across the entirety of the pan. So I'm just gonna do some of this. And just make sure it is everywhere. Okay, once you have it evenly spread out across the top, you want to take your walnuts and you're going to drizzle them on top as well. And we're going to use the whole cup and just spread them all over the place over here. And again, I just did a rough chop of these ones. There's half walnuts, and I just did a rough chop of them. So you're going to have a mixture of walnut sizes. Some are, very fine, and some are still a little bit chunky. And that's what makes it also much better.
But if you have a nut allergy, this is not necessary. It's just as good without it.
Absolutely a wonderful, wonderful addition, my love. Something that I did not think of because I am luckily not allergic to nuts. So we have our walnuts completely spread. So last step before we put this into our oven is I'm going to take our margarine that we melted, and I'm just going to drizzle this over the top. Just kind of all around. Make sure you get as much coverage as possible with it. And again, that's about 3/4 of a cup of margarine or butter. And that's about, if you're using margarine, it's about 1.5 sticks. And here we go. So, this is what it looks like right before we put it in the oven. We're going to bake it at 350 degrees for 50 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this into the oven, and then we'll see you again as I'm removing it. Alright, so 50 minutes in 350 degree oven, and then we took it out, and this is our finished product. I have it on a wire rack so it would help with the cooling. So once again, this is pumpkin pie cake. Now because I was Instagramming the same time that I was actually making it, we got a comment from Ann's aunt who recognized what we were making, and she had just made it herself last week and had mentioned that she added a maple icing to it. which sounds absolutely phenomenal. All I have for it right now is whipped cream, but I think in the future we'll probably make some maple icing to go with it. So whipped cream goes really well with this. That's how we'll be eating it, but apparently so does maple icing. So thank you, BAK, for that tip. I appreciate it. So this is our pumpkin pie cake, and this does it for another edition of Corey's in the Kitchen. Next week, hopefully we're back on schedule for a weekly episodes. And we'll try to come up with something else again for next week. If you have any requests, or if there's something that you'd love to see, please leave it in the comment section below. And let us know what you want to see, and we'll see if we can make that happen. If you like this video, share it everywhere. Give it a thumbs up. Like it. Subscribe to our channel. You never know when we'll be doing something that you really want. So, until next time, everyone, keep it spicy.